This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 89, and we're going to where my ancestors are from, Deutschland.
It wasn't a real good paper trading I was doing there because, well, as I said, at that point, I did not have a real plan in place.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host. It may be old-fashioned, but he loves to go hiking outside. Clay Trader.
The more I think about this, though, I don't think it's old-fashioned at all, because we've had many guests that say they like to get outdoors and do hiking and stuff like this. Maybe it's just kind of where I grew up or whatever, but hiking was never something that was ever really that much talked about. But yeah, I like to go out and hike, and it's a quick, funny story on that. We being myself and brother-in-law, and then one of my brother-in-law's friends, who was, or I should say is still a Marine actually. We like to go hiking whenever we all meet up, and it's like off the beaten path. Like the last thing we try to do is stay on the path. But we had this guy join us this year, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to come hiking with us?" Yeah, sure. But he thought, all right, hiking as in staying on the path. But after the whole thing was over, now he always gives us a hard time about, yeah, I don't know what you guys call hiking, but that's not what I call hiking. So it was kind of funny just to, you almost have to define what exactly you mean by hiking. Because some people, it's, yeah, let's just go stroll on the path. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's great that you're outside getting some exercise and not playing video games or something like that. But then there's, I guess, also maybe the marine type of hiking where it's, what's that path for? We're going off in the woods and we're going to create our own path. But I do like getting out there, getting dirty, getting some burrs or whatever those things are stuck to you. It is a good time for sure. And I cannot bring in Ches here because Ches is, at the time of this recording, in the middle of a move. He's going from right now California to Denver, Colorado. So he's not able to make it. And with our guest today, Thomas from Germany, I guess I learned that later on, but it is a holiday for him today. And because he has a job and because of the time difference and all that stuff, today needed to be the day that we interview him. So the stars just didn't quite align right for Ches to be here. So I'm going to go one-on-one with Thomas, like I said, from Germany. So our first European guest, I believe. And Thomas did a great job. He was a little nervous heading in due to the whole, English was not his first language, but he did fantastic. And a good journey, a journey of one where he had some fool's gold, and now he's kind of back to just figuring things out again. Not totally confident with his current trading. And but that's why I love this show, and that's the whole goal behind it. Is I don't want to sit here and be like, we're only talking with people that are super, super confident and they are just absolutely killing it every single day and no, that's just not realistic. A realistic look into some people's journeys is they're learning and maybe at a point where they're still a little unconfident. And that's kind of where Thomas is right now. And, I think that's makes me happy because I now know as a host here that we're providing all sorts of true different portions of the journey for everybody. So, by no means can anybody accuse me of saying, whatever, Clay, all you do is bring on people that are, making all sorts of money. Everybody's always super confident, coming across like they got it all figured out. This is the type of episode, and there's been other ones where there's all sorts of journeys. There's all sorts of different stages in the journey. And, we're going to take a look at a certain stage here. But don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of things that can be learned, a lot of good experiences and things that have happened to Thomas that if you listen to them and then apply them to your trading, they're going to save you a lot of headaches going forward. So without further ado, let's talk to our German friend, Thomas. Hey, Thomas, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks. Glad to be here.
And you are all the way in Deutschland, otherwise known as, that's what Germany's called, right? Deutschland?
Yes, Deutschland.
Deutschland. Are you a big, are you a big football fan then?
Not really.
Okay. So me and my American ways, I just stereotyped everybody in Germany as being like massively into soccer, or excuse me, not soccer, but football. So, but you're kind of, don't really care about it. You can go one way or the other. You're not a massive fan or anything like that.
No, I was at the soccer stadium once in a while, but not very often.
Okay. All right. So what time is it in Germany right now? Or let me ask this, how far are you 6 hours ahead of Eastern time zone?
No,
Or I guess,
5 hours,
oh,
but
5 hours. Okay. So it's
our
about 3 o'clock there for you right now?
yes, it is. But time changed last weekend, so last week it was 6 hours away.
Oh, all right. So now it's only, but then we'll do our time change here pretty soon. So that must get everything back on track or whatever. But anyways, so you are our first guest from Germany. So you are in a club of your own. You are president of the club, and yeah. So it's great to finally have somebody from Europe because you're the first European too. I don't think we've ever had any Europeans. So thank you for taking some time out of your day to be here. And I was kidding with Thomas. I'm pretty sure his English is even better than mine. So
No.
he has nothing to worry about in regards to that. But Thomas, you said you've listened to, I think, all the podcasts, but you know what's coming here. This first question: what got you interested in the markets, and what kind of drew your attention enough to make you want to get more hands-on with the whole process?
Okay, well, it started in the beginning of this year, 2016, and at that point I had some kind of mutual fund running over the last 5 years, and this is something every year you get a letter which shows your account balance. I never took care of that thing, but at the beginning of this year, I decided to check it out, and I noticed that the money I put in there didn't grow. There wasn't. They gained nothing. And I checked the fund out, and it gained like about 60% over the past 5 years. And well, at that point, I tried to reach my financial advisor, couldn't reach him, he wasn't available. And so I decided to sell my shares of this fund. And suddenly I had a bit of money laying around, some saving of my own, and I didn't know what to do with that. And so I started to research, looked in real estate, looked if I can get people some loans or something like that. And then I found the stock market in end of February. And yeah, I started to research. I found a German news portal about the stock markets, and combined with a board, something similar to iHub, but not that big. There weren't that many people around.
So you came across, well, actually, I found this fascinating. Were you ever able to get a hold of your financial advisor, or did you just, I mean, because to me, that's shocking. You want to talk to the guy that's managing your money and he's unavailable. I mean, were you ever able to actually talk to him?
No, I wasn't.
No. So you were never able to get in touch with this person.
No, I did write him an email and tried to call him several times, but over the course of 4 weeks, but he wasn't responding, and quite a while later he tried to reach me over the phone, but I was in a meeting, and well, after that I already sold my shares of this mutual fund, and I didn't call him back. So
well, I would say that you were more than fair. I mean, it's not like this all happened where, why haven't you replied back? It's only been 5 minutes. No, if you gave him a whole month and he never, yeah. So yeah, in my opinion, you were totally fair to this guy. You gave him plenty of opportunity to get a hold of you. So yeah, I don't think you owed him a phone call back, but wow, that is pretty fascinating that, man, 4 weeks and nothing back from this guy, but good on you. I guess that was the motivation you needed. But how did this money even end up in that mutual fund? Was this something through your job, or I mean, how did you even know to put money into a mutual fund to begin with?
Well, I met this guy about 5 years ago. At that point, I was already 2 years in my new job. Before that, or prior to that, I finished my studying my university. And well, at that point, I decided to save up some money in the long run for the rent. And yeah, I started this mutual fund. He told me this is a good thing to do, and yeah, I just did it. I never thought that much about it, and I let it run.
Yeah, and so may I ask you how old you are then? Are you in your 20s?
No, I'm actually 36 now.
Okay, so you just recently went to get your degree then in the past few years.
In 2006, I finished 10 years ago.
Okay, so well, I would not say that anything you've said so far is stupid in regards to, because mutual funds put your money to work for you. I mean, that all makes good sense, but I guess the lesson here is, once the guy got your money, he didn't seem to be too concerned about customer service or anything. But anyway, so let's fast forward back to where you were, and you were researching. You thought real estate first, then you went and discovered, hey, the stock market, okay, trading, and then you came upon something similar to Investors Hub, which for the listeners out there, Investors Hub is basically a big message board that talks mainly about penny stocks. And I'm not going to bash the site, but if you don't know how to use the site, if you don't know what exactly is going on, then it can be very dangerous to new people. So I'm getting a little nervous here for you, Thomas, knowing that you came across a very similar site in Germany. So were you mainly looking at penny stocks at this point in time, or what did you kind of discover on this, Investors Hub site over in Germany?
No, I was not looking at penny stocks. The site put out news, or there were discussion about all the ticker symbols. So from 1 penny till 100 euro or dollars. So they were all over the place, I would say. But what I noticed, these people are looking at stocks with a very low price. So $2, $3, $5, things like that. And yeah, I started to look around, read the comments. And I actually, on one point, I decided to buy into one of these stocks, which was most talked about at one day. So this was, I think, it's beginning of March this year, and the first stock I bought was Sun Edison.
SUNE.
Yes. But
so are you rich right now?
No, I'm not. Actually, at first, nothing happened there. And a couple of days later, I decided to buy into thwidra, STRL.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and this was a lucky buy, because within 2 days, the price more than doubled themselves. There was a short squeeze happening on a Friday afternoon or evening for me. And yeah, I doubled 2,000 euro in 2 days. And I was pretty happy about that.
So you took 2,000 euro and doubled it to up to 4,000 in 2 days?
Yes.
And just to reiterate, I mean, you already admitted that it was a lucky buy, but what exactly was your reasoning? Was it because for Sun Edison, SUNE, you said that was just the most talked about, so that's why you bought that one. Was it the same strategy for STRL? Was it just a lot of people were talking about it, therefore you bought, or did you do a little bit more research? So what was the reasoning for actually buying in the first place?
Well, for once, it was the same reason. And there was a second reason, because about STRL, it was also talked very much about it. And the second reason is I noticed the oil price going up too. And yeah, it's just simple as that. There was no plan in place. I didn't know what I do, but it felt somewhat right. I saw a line chart, which was pretty nice. And then I bought it. And at that point, I thought I would hold it for a couple of weeks or maybe 1 or 2 months and see what's happening.
But you got a short squeeze within a very short amount of time. So you did sell that one, though. Did you realize those gains?
Well, at first, I was totally hypnotized from this chart. This was Friday evening for me. I was still sitting in the office. I was about to go home, but I took a glimpse at the line chart, and yeah, I see that it was going up, and I got somewhat hypnotized by it. It took me a while to force me away from the screen and go home. And at home, I had that crazy thought to sell these shares, and I did that half an hour before the market closed.
All right. So what, because I'm fascinated, because many people we've talked about before, they would have never sold. They would have just said, wow, look at it go up and up and up. This thing's going to keep going up and up and up. So why did you sell? I mean, what was going on in your mind? How did you justify that? Because whether or not you knew it at the time, that was actually, showing some good trader habits by, locking in some profits. So how did you justify that? Because like I said, many people we've talked to, and I remember when I would get started, things would start to go up and up and up. And the last thing I wanted to think about was selling because, hey, this thing's going up. So what led you, what was going on in your brain that made you at least, pull some profits off the table?
Well, what happened with STRL, while I got home, the way from the office until home takes me usually 30 minutes. And at that time, STRL reached its top, and then it was falling down. And I got home, I started my PC and opened up the chart, and there it was climbing again, but only a little bit. And at that point, I thought, okay, maybe this is breaking down again. You should sell your shares now. So I wasn't buying, I wasn't selling at the top. I was a little bit behind, and I don't want to lose more money at that point, and so I sold it.
I'm actually very impressed because, I mean, nobody expects you to sell the top or near the top because, yeah, let the thing move. Now, at the time, you weren't probably thinking like this, but yeah, let a price move, and then when it starts to show some weakness, all right, then you can get out, which is essentially what you did. So rather than buying more or something like that, which a lot of people could do is, oh, this is just a temporary dip, it's going back up, so load the boat for more. You actually just got out, doubled your money, and yeah, so some good little habits shown there. Whether or not they were intentional remains to be seen. But so at this point, did you think that, well, actually, let me ask this. So while SDRL trade was going on, did you still own those shares of SUNE?
Yes.
Okay.
I do own them.
Okay, so you're just kind of waiting for that one. So you had that trade going on. But after the SDRL trade where you got the short squeeze, was that kind of some fool's gold? Did you think that you had trading figured out? Were you feeling very confident about yourself, or what was kind of your mental standpoint, at that point in time? I mean, you literally just doubled your money. So were you feeling super good about yourself?
Yeah, yes, I was. At that point, I thought I figured it all out and I knew how it worked. And well, I got greedy because the first thing on Monday I was entering some new stocks. I bought 3 new ticker symbols. Ultra Petroleum was one of them, and 2 others I can't remember right now. And
well, let me just so you got three different stocks on Monday?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I'll go with SUNE. Okay, maybe why hold that one? Let me try SDRL. Okay, and then boom, that all happened on a Friday. Monday, you're in 3 different trades just like that.
Yes, just like
All
that.
right, yeah, you had it. You definitely thought you had it all figured out. So I am very fascinated. So yeah, tell us about. I mean, how does Monday go? I mean, were these all? Did you catch 3 more short squeezes, or yeah, walk us through this because you are definitely ramping things up in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, this was totally in the other direction. So
Uh-oh.
yes, oh. um, I because I was at work and because of the time difference, I could not look at it all the time. So I just entered it, bought some shares, and I was doing my tasks in the office. And later on, I watched the charts again. I opened up my broker account and I was totally in the red. So it took a couple of hours. I lost on 3 and with Sun Edison on 4 stocks, I lost about 1,000 euro. Half of the winnings of STR were gone. So I totally panicked at that point, and I sold everything I had in the broker account.
So
And I was totally devastating.
okay, totally devastating. But after you had sold everything, you don't only lost 1,000 of the euros,
Yes, I lost 1,000.
but you had made 2,000, right?
Yes.
So I mean, Thomas, I mean, you're still you did a whole bunch of things wrong in terms of just going into all these stocks, but in hindsight, I'd say that that's pretty good. If you're quote unquote totally devastated and is only losing 50% of the gains that you had made, that means that all your principal amount that you had originally funded the account, that money was all still there plus 1,000. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, it was there.
Well,
Everything plus 1,000.
well, I mean, good on you for, at least acknowledging it. It sounds like you panicked. I mean, did you panic because you saw red? Did you panic because you're like, wait a second, I don't know what I'm doing? What actually caused you to panic?
No, I panicked because I saw red everything, and ultra petroleum alone was down like 700 or 800 euros. So this is this is pretty much this is a real lot money for me, and yeah, it happened quite fast. I didn't know what I was doing, and yes, I panicked and I sold everything.
Now, what did you think? Did you try to like blame something else, or did you blame yourself for losing money? Who exactly did you blame for all the red?
No, I actually I blamed myself because at that point I did not have a stop loss in place, for example. I actually did not know what's going on there. So it's totally my I had to blame myself.
So, but at that time, you blamed yourself. I mean, in hindsight, yeah, it's easy to blame yourself, but putting yourself back in that, in that exact moment, you just thought, hey, Thomas, this is all my fault. I have nobody else to blame other than myself.
Yes, only myself. So
Very good. So you're not one of these people that you see, all the time running around the internet looking to blame everybody else but themselves for their losses. So I applaud you for that, accepting responsibility and saying, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. But again, you're still up $1,000 from where you started. So you cut things fast, really, to give you a whole lot of credit. You didn't let that 2,000s that you had made all of a sudden go down to, well, now all 2,000's gone. I mean, you only lost 1,000 of it. So good on you for recognizing that you didn't really know what was going on, and a good reason to panic when you don't know what you're going on, and then you liquidated everything. So at this point, you're all in cash again. So what was the next stage of your journey? Where did you go from this point?
Well, at that point, I began to research somewhat heavily in the internet, reading all the stuff I could find. I still didn't know what really was going on, so I tried to search for some sort of holy grail, or I tried to look what did I miss, or or even I tried to find some hot stock picks, something like that. But yeah, during my research, I found out that everything related to gold and silver was going up. There was some kind of rally happening. And at that point, I made another mistake because I thought I knew I was buying again into the right stocks, which were going up. And yeah, a week later, I bought some silver and gold mining stocks with only small positions. I did not put my entire account in all these stocks. Yeah, but what basically happened there was I bought in the beginning of a correction, and I put some stop losses in place, but I soon got stopped out on most of them except for two, and two of them were running into April, and I actually gained some money, but with all the other ones, maybe about I think 5 or 8 stocks, I got stopped out, and until the end of March, I lost the rest of the 1,000 euro I gained from STRL. So at the end of the month, I was literally break even.
But you've been doing a lot of stupid things, and you're still just at break even. So, but again, for you new listeners out there that are, or I should say listeners out there that are kind of newer to the markets, I mean, if you're just going to throw yourself into the market, what Thomas here did was super smart. I mean, at least you put in stop losses, and did you honor all the stop losses? I mean, when they got hit, you sold, right?
Yes, they were. I put them in my broker right after I bought the stock.
Okay. So he put in stop losses, and then he honored the stop losses, because what happens a lot is, well, people will put in a stop loss, and then when the price gets close to them, I'm going to lower my stop loss down a little bit more, and then I'm going to lower it down even more, and then at the end of the day, there's no point to even having a stop loss. So good on you for at least doing that. So how many stocks did you buy? Like 10 or so? I mean, it sounds like you bought quite a few. If 8 of them hit your stop loss.
Yes, this was about 10 or 11 stocks. I don't know exactly. I have to look it up.
So you actually did put a lot of money into the market. You just did a bunch of small little positions spread around all over the place. So
yes,
you were diversifying. So that's, you're not really, I mean, you never really had a trade plan going in, but I mean, you're showing and displaying quite a few good kind of attributes of what you want to have in terms of diversifying, spreading things around. So that's good, because if you'd put all your money in one of those, it could have been a lot worse. So now you were back to break even, and obviously I'm assuming that you're thinking, I still have some things I got to work on. So I mean, where did you go from this stage? I mean, was it, let me try again? Did you try to do more research? Where exactly did you head?
No, at that point, I did some more research, and I stumbled across one of your analysis videos. It was STRL, actually.
Oh, yeah, so I remember doing videos on that one a while back.
Yes, I bookmarked it, but I didn't watch it right away. So.
Oh, well, come on, Thomas. Why not? You should have said, hey, boss, leave me alone. I know I want to watch this. I'm kidding. All right, so you bookmarked. At least you bookmarked it. I'll give you credit for that.
Yeah. And I think already in the middle of March, but after I bought all these gold and silver mining stocks, I just watched it, and I checked out your website and researched something about it, and then in actually end of March, I decided to buy robotic trading and join the inner circle, and at that point I decided to learn first and see what's going on, how all the stuff works. I started robotic trading. Took me a while to get through it, and yes, I started to learn all the things. And I think end of May, I joined CTU. I bought the whole package.
So were you disappointed when there weren't really any line charts being taught in robotic trading?
No, actually not, because of the analysis video from STR. I was somewhat intrigued by the candlestick charts because I never saw them before anywhere else.
And now knowing what
And
you do, would you agree that a candlestick versus a line chart? I mean, there's just so much more information on a candlestick. Would you agree with that?
yes, I definitely agree.
So it's for you listeners, if you think technical analysis is a line chart, I don't know, maybe you can make it work, but in my opinion, I think at least pursue candlesticks because there's a whole lot of more information there. So now, while you were going through robotic trading and then the inner circle, and then you eventually joined Clay Trader University, were you still trading at this point, or were you just completely, going through the training and learning, or were you still actually making active trades?
No, I had these active trades running until mid of April. I purchased before I joined robotic trading in the inner circle, and I let them run. And I think middle of April I sold them, and I did not buy any new stocks. So I was somewhat impatient, and I was greedy, and I was fearful on the other side. Um, so I somewhat tricked myself into paper trading, even though I did it totally wrong at that time. But I concentrated on learning. I watched the courses. I watched your free stuff on YouTube, and it took me quite a while to get through all these things. And yeah, and later on in June or better July, I started my first real paper trading trials.
Okay. Actually, because that's a perfect. So you just started your quote unquote real paper trading, but earlier you had said you were doing paper trading, but you were doing it wrong. So explain that, because I can see listeners out there saying, wait, what do you mean you did paper trading wrong? So what were you doing that made it wrong? How were you paper trading at that point?
Well, at that point, in April and May and beginning of June, I didn't watch the RVR course, so I didn't know how to put a plan in place. I only had robotic trading done, and I put some lines in the charts and put some notes in it, and I thought myself, okay, you are buying there, look what's happening, and you are going to sell somewhere there, and let's see if the price is moving in this direction. What I did not do is I wasn't writing down on paper or in an Excel sheet what I was doing. So I wasn't monitoring my trades. And of course, I did not do it against me like you teach us. So I started this with the Excel sheet and starting paper trading, doing it somewhat against me. I started it later on in the summer after I watched the RVR course and some of the other courses.
Okay, so pretty much you were making life kind of easy on yourself a little bit at first. Is that kind of when you were getting started, you're just like, oh yeah, I would have gotten shares, and oh yeah, I would have sold shares, and everything was your spreadsheet showing a lot of gains when you were kind of doing it wrong?
Yeah, but mostly in hindsight somewhat. So it wasn't a real good paper trading I was doing there because, well, as I said, at that point, I did not have a real plan in place. It was somewhat of a kind of tricking myself into thinking I'm doing at least something at the stock markets to get my impatience in place, because at that point I was struggling a bit with my emotions.
And like you said, hindsight was just factoring a lot into it. So, and that's very typical. Even, I love how you say you just tricked yourself because, oh yeah, I'm doing paper trading. And then you look at, whoever it is doing the paper trading, like, yeah, I mean, you are paper trading, but you're not exactly being totally realistic with yourself. And yeah, a lot of tricking of oneself does happen with paper trading. So that's why we're always trying to, and there's quite a few videos out there that I've done we'll link those in the show notes that, how to properly paper trade and things like that, because, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I mean, if you're practicing something the wrong way, well, then, it's not going to give you the results that you really want. So, but you started to, before I cut you off, you said, well, then I started to paper trade again, the right way. So at this point, I'm assuming that was when you were through RVR trading and everything. So how were you paper trading stocks at that point? Were you paper trading options? Walk us through your paper trading after you had gotten on through more of the courses.
Well, it took me some time to get through the courses. It actually took until October this month that I looked most the courses. I did not watch all of them. So, for example, I haven't watched the 3 option courses, and because of this, I do not do any options. I only do stocks. I worked on a step-by-step process, how to enter it, how to monitor a trade, things like that. And beginning of July, I started paper trading and writing everything down, what I was seeing. I made some screenshots of the charts with my lines and entry points and things like that. I put it somewhat against me. And yeah, it worked quite out well. I was adding one plan after another, which I had learned from your courses, and yeah, had a bit of problems with that because there were quite a lot of plans in place, a lot of setups, and later on I started to concentrate on 2 or 3 of them, which worked best. And yeah, and I was taking my notes and yeah, somehow going through this.
That's I like that point you bring up, because and that's something that, I mean, even for myself and any trader, even if you've been trading, it's always a good reminder is, yeah, there's many different strategies out there. Just, how do I want to enter into a trade? What kind of setups do I want to take? There's a lot of different little things like that out there. And it can be very easily to overwhelm yourself thinking, oh, I got to worry about this or this. And sometimes all you got to do is pick, a few of the different strategies, a few of the different ways you can enter in, or, a few of the different ways you can approach a setup, and just leave it at that. So, you don't want to just overwhelm yourself. So good point there, when you just kind of got to step back, pick out a few that you feel most comfortable with, and then go with those. So where are you actually at this point in time? Are you still paper trading? Are you still now trading with real money? What is your, present day trading? Where exactly, do you stand with things?
No, I'm still paper trading because I think I still need a lot of experience and chart watching, and yeah, my hit rate is not the best at the moment. I actually had a somewhat of a setback because I concentrated on 2 setups lately, and I began to feel somewhat easy about them. So I began to enter on paper some trades that went totally against me. And yeah, there are still things I have to figure out. It's not the best at the moment, I think. But because I'm swing trading, which takes also a little bit time, a couple of days or even weeks, the paper trading process is somewhat slow for me, but it's okay because I have to fit in all these trades with my daily work, and because of the time difference, I can't do any day trading. And yeah, so I am still working on that. I'm going through webinars and case studies because I haven't watched them all, and there are still a lot of things to do for me.
So, and that's actually a good point. I mean, I don't, sometimes there's a legitimate reason, other times it's just a flat out excuse. But yeah, I can definitely see how being in a whole nother country and a whole nother time zone would make things challenging. And even from a paper trading perspective, I mean, you can't quite go as fast as you would want because, well, if you're paper trading from a swing trading perspective, then yeah, I mean, you got to wait literally days upon days for things to unfold. Whereas if you're paper trading from a day trading perspective, well, then you might only need, an hour or a couple hours to get a whole bunch of results within paper trading. So, I mean, that does make a whole lot of sense when you stop and think about it in terms of, trying to paper trade and practice swing trading. So, I mean, what do you think are you struggling now with the entries, or, I mean, what do you think is something that you're really trying to work on at this point that you need to, because I sense you're a little unconfident in, maybe some trading, but are you getting stopped out super fast? Are you just not getting filled? I mean, where exactly are you kind of stumbling right now?
No, actually, I get stopped out relatively fast. So sometimes I'm not able to put up my stop loss to break even or above that because the price doesn't go that way into my direction. So I somewhat misread the charts. I still have a little bit of problem with looking at volume. So I tend to not look at it, but this is a super important indicator. And yeah, there are some mistakes I still make. I try to analyze every trade after I got stopped out and see what I was doing wrong. Sometimes I can't find anything, except that the overall market is going somewhat down. But sometimes I see somewhat of an obvious mistake, like for example, not looking at the volume. So, well, yeah, at the moment I'm not that confident. This is something I have to improve. So, and I think I won't go live until I have more confidence and I have more paper trading experience.
Well, and to be fair to you, it's not like you're sitting here saying, yeah, I've been going through the courses for the past 2 years. And I mean, you're literally still, in my eyes, essentially brand new. I mean, you've only been around and doing the courses for a few months. So it's not like it's been even 12 months or a year. I mean, don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, you're going about it and doing things the right way. From what you described, it sounds like it's probably a combination of, now sometimes you didn't do anything wrong. The market just didn't work out. I mean, you could have everything perfect, and sometimes the market, there are no guarantees, so you may still get stopped out. But my guess would be probably maybe getting a little too tight on your stop losses, or maybe a little too aggressive on your entry points, based off what you've said in terms of if you're getting stopped out very quick before you can even get to break even. I have a feeling you might be a little, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because if you're super aggressive with stop losses, then at least you're keeping things small and controlled. So, I mean, but you're just going to get stopped out a lot more. So, but you're early on in your journey, and you're just, you're learning things. And of course, as you acknowledge, yeah, volume is definitely something you want to keep tabs on. That's quite an important indicator. But as far as, just kind of your strategy and what you're working at, what exactly do you have on your chart? I mean, do you have a bunch of indicators? Is it just pretty basic? But if I were to be sitting next to you right now and looking at your chart, what sorts of things would I see on it?
Well, actually, I have a bunch of indicators on it. Of course, candlesticks and volume. I have the average volume enabled, and 3 of the moving averages, 50, 200, and the 8-1. And I have the MACD open and the RSI, but I only use them somewhat for confirmation. So I'm looking at it if it seems to be right. So the chart looks interesting, but of course, mostly I'm concentrating on candlesticks and try not to forget volume.
Well, you've identified it, so at least you now have an idea to always be paying extra attention to it. Plus, now you have this podcast that that you talked extensively about needing to remember to look at volume. So hopefully this helps you out going forward too. But I think, and I'm just curious in and of myself, but a lot of people that do have jobs, and you have a job and you're in a totally another time zone. So I'm curious, what does your routine look like from, kind of a trading perspective alongside with your job, and then different time differences? So when are you planning out trades? When are you actually, looking at charts? So kind of walk us through a typical day.
Okay, well, normally I tend to research and plan a trade in the evening before the next day. So I am researching. I'm going through charts after the closing bell, and yeah, this is something about 10 o'clock in the evening until 11 or even midnight in the night. Next day, I get up early, go to work, like between 8 and 9 o'clock. Doing my things, my stuff, and then I take somewhat of a longer lunch break. It's the beginning of the afternoon. The pre-market starts, and I in my lunch break I open up some charts going through the pre-market. If I see something interesting, I'm putting an alert in the chat room. And yeah, I try to look in the opening at some charts. I'm just opening some tabs in my browser, and while doing my stuff at work. And yeah, after that, I'm concentrating on work. Sometimes I'm closing the chat and the charts, finishing up my things, heading home. Then normally it's the only time on the day I have time to go to the gym to do some sports. And well, I'm after that mostly at 8 o'clock in the evening my time, which is 2 hours before the market closes. I am back home and I start to watch some course videos or looking at charts or beginning somewhat of research. And yeah, that's normally a typical day for me.
So you're just getting it done. I mean, the thing that really stood out to me is, I mean, you're doing your research and trying to do your strategizing from anywhere between 10 to midnight your time. So I mean, yes. As far as and this is why we always preach: there's no excuses. If you want to do something, then do it. And here you are, going up until midnight at times, looking and just working to better yourself and just improve as a trader. So good example of that, a busy day with not only trying to learn the markets, but also having a job and being in another time zone. So yeah, you're definitely a pristine example of, no excuses and working hard. But a question going back to the time zone thing, have you ever thought about trading German stocks? Because I know your stock market is, I guess I don't know, but I know your economy is very big, so I'd assume your stock market is pretty active. But why not? Have you ever thought about maybe trading German stocks in a day trading sense?
Well, not in a day trading sense, maybe swing trading. And yeah, I thought about that. But the problem is I don't get live, don't get real-time feeds. I have to pay a lot of money to get real-time feeds, which is way, way more than, for example, TradingView wants you to have in a month. And so you have to pay like 150 euros a month, which is a lot of money, I think. And the other reason is it's not that liquid. It's not that liquid like the US stock markets. So I early on decided, or relatively early on after I had some experience, I decided to concentrate on the US stock markets.
Okay, that is interesting then, because I guess I assume that, I don't know. It sounds like us Americans probably take it for granted that we do live in the world or the country where our stock market is just totally liquid. Because I mean, it's not like Germany, some third world country or anything. So interesting that, and that would make sense. And that is bizarre. I would never have guessed just to get real time data for German stocks and such. It'd be, 150 euros per month, because that is a lot for. I mean, I could understand if it was for some other country or something of that nature, but yeah, so that makes a whole lot of sense why you want to stick with the U.S. stocks, and it sounds like you're definitely in a routine, and you have a routine, which I was saying sounds pretty busy, but hey, no excuses. You're working hard, and you're definitely on the pathway. You're doing things right, and at the end of the day, you're still very new to all this. It's not like you've been around for years upon years and still struggling. I mean, you're on the right pathway. You're the way you are in the chat room, I would say you're definitely, you're making progress for sure. I'll just leave it at that. But looking at the time here, we got to start to wrap things up, and we'll for sure have you back at another point in time, and definitely get an update from you, which is why I love just doing this, because you hear about people from all different stages in their journey. And, we have some people that are doing fantastic, other people that are still working on it, and something that hopefully everybody can relate to. But Ches is not here, as you know, and as we've discussed, but he has this time machine. So, Thomas, if Ches were to give you his time machine and you could go back in the time to the start, what would be the one bit of advice that you'd give yourself?
Well, I probably won't want to go back at that point where I found the stock market and tell myself that I have to educate myself at first and do not enter some stocks right away. So yeah, I would tell myself to have patience, to educate myself, and to see how things unfold.
Yeah, patience and educate yourself. That's a simple answer, but I don't know if there's really truly any other answer that would make more sense, because if you are just going too fast or rushing yourself, or thinking that you know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you're going in 3 stocks in one day, things can turn around in a hurry. So I like that answer a lot. So now I always like this session regardless, but when we get people from different countries, I always find it fascinating, because I mean, I'm always curious how they're gonna respond to these. So some fun questions here, and as always, we'll kick it off with, what is your favorite movie?
Well, actually, this is an easy one. I really like the first Star Wars movie, the old one, A New Hope.
Okay, all right. So now, how does that work? Do you have German subtitles, or you just listen to it in English, or how exactly do you watch an American movie like that?
No, normally, the past couple of years, I watch every new movie I can get my hands on English, if it's some sort of Hollywood movie. So I like it. It's synchronization is not always very good in German, so I tend to watch in the original version without subtitles.
Okay. Now, I always find it fascinating, because I mean, a lot of the people in other countries, like I said, they speak better English than I do. So in Germany, did you learn how to speak English early on, or how exactly did you learn to speak English so well?
I learned it early on in school, but at school I wasn't very good in English. So during my study at the university, I had to read some English books and analyze them and research them. And yeah, I pretty much learned it there. And later on, I started to watch movies or read some novels in English, watch the movies. Thank God we have a cinema which shows original versions in my hometown. And yeah, I think through listening and reading, I learned it, how I learned it.
So it sounds like there was quite a bit of just teaching yourself that went into it.
Yes, definitely.
Well, if you can teach yourself English, then there's no question in my mind that you're going to be able to teach yourself, and as you go through the courses, figure out all this trading stuff, because that's impressive that you're able to just. If I was in school and they were like, all right, read this book in German, I would not know where to start. I would just say, So very impressive. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. What about food? What is your favorite food over there in Germany?
Well, some of my favorite, of course, is schnitzel with some potatoes. Yeah.
What exactly is schnitzel? Is that like sausages and stuff?
No, it's like steak.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice.
Yeah, it's a different kind how it's made. God, I don't know how to explain this. But
You said steak. That for us Americans, we all understand steak. So yeah, perfectly explained through one word. Where's a place you would like to visit someday?
Yeah, actually, I would go to Hawaii someday. See the islands, And
Where do because Europeans, don't you, if you want to go to like the beaches or something like that, don't you usually go down to like Greece or something like that? Where's a typical spot that, you Europeans would, or do you guys come to Mexico quite a bit, or where do you go for a beach?
No, we in Europe you have to go to the North or East Sea, but it's somewhat cold there. So the other way is go to the Mediterranean Sea.
The Mediterranean?
Yes, Greek or Italy or Spain.
Okay.
You would go there.
Interesting. So, but you want to get to Hawaii someday. I've been there a couple of times with my wife. It is, I would say, highly recommended. So if you can make it there at some point, definitely get to Hawaii. I'm confident you will enjoy yourself. I got to do just one more, just because you're from Germany, and I'm fascinated by all this stuff. So what do you do for fun and hobbies? So outside of the market, outside of your work, what do you like to do to entertain yourself?
Well, besides meeting some friends and going somewhere, I actually go a lot to the gym lately, doing sports, doing my things there, some power training. Besides that, riding my bike, or go to the cinema. And but there was not that much time the past couple of months to go to the cinema.
I feel like your time. I feel like your time is, you're going to the cinema, right? It's just you're just watching stock charts. That's like your new movie. It sounds like is. Yeah.
Cinema.
Yeah, exactly. Starring candlesticks is the main actors and actresses. So our final question here: 3 words, and these 3 words need to describe what you would associate with a successful trader. So what 3 words would you use?
Well, for me, definitely patience, education. And I think knowledge, because you have to know what you are doing, what's going on.
I like that a lot. Knowledge, patience, and education. Yeah. Good 3 solid words. Well, Thomas, and this is more so for those people out there that I've been wanting to get on the show. Let's put things into context for some of you out there. Thomas is not a native English speaker, and he's still early in his journey, so he's still learning. But he was still cool enough to come and hang out and talk with us. So, Thomas, I know you're nervous, but was it as bad as what you thought it might be?
No, it was not that bad.
See?
I did not feel grilled.
There you go. So, there's really nothing to be nervous about for some of the members out there that are just scared for whatever reason. If Thomas can come in here and speak in his second language that he taught himself, then you have no excuses. But, Thomas, thank you. Dankeschön. Is that how you say thank you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so Dankeschön, Thomas.
Dankeschön.
I don't know.
Dankeschön. You're welcome.
For some reason, I thought that meant Merry Christmas, but I don't know why I thought that. So anyways, but thank you very much for taking some time out of what we've discovered, a very busy day. And welcome to you are the first European, so I appreciate you hanging out with me and just telling us about your journey. So thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
For you listeners out there, a few final things before we go our separate directions. If you're listening to this on the site, please click that share button, leave us a comment. We will read those and reply. If you're listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, then definitely subscribe so you can keep up to date when new episodes are released. And especially for those of you on iTunes, if you could leave us a rating and a ranking, hopefully a good ranking, but that really does, a good rating, because that really does help us out with our rankings. So any sort of 5-star review, truly, truly appreciated. And it just helps us out and lets us know that you're enjoying, the content that we're putting out. And then finally, if you're listening on YouTube, check out the remainder of the channel. A lot of other videos just besides these podcasts, from live trade videos to quick tip videos to all sorts of stuff. So definitely check that stuff out. and hopefully you ultimately decide to subscribe to the channel. So thank you again to all you as listeners. Thank you again to Thomas, and we will see everybody back with the next episode.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.